Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavill, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
How's everybody going this morning? This is episode 821. Charles, how are you?
Hands full, but we making it.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Eddie Drew, how are you? Your hands full as well?
There's nothing worse than, especially during the summertime, when you normally don't work till 5 o'clock, but because I was off campus doing some other stuff, I wound up being at work till 5 o'clock. And at 4:51, getting the email from the president's office and having to change my media cycle that I had planned for the week, because during the summer, since it's slow, you try to space stories out to not only get this at 4:51, write it up, because you gotta have, because the president's office wants to put their 2 cents in it before you release it, and then figure out how you're going to adjust your media cycle, not knowing when this story is going to come out.
Nice.
All after 5 o'clock. By the time you read this and comprehend this. Other than that, my day was fine.
No, I get it, and you're right. When you get those emails or calls from the president directly or from the president's office, it's always interesting. Then you can add in the middle layer. For me, you get those calls from the provost's office, so sometimes you get the 2 distinctions, and that's always good. Or just some faculty that students are intrigued, disgruntled, or wanting to have some solutions for things they need to take care of. It's always fascinating.
Yes.
Great day of work at the office, though, I will say. With that being said, let me do this properly. Welcome to episode 821 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab and Radio Show, the podcast show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NCAA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. In short, we just call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta, along with my co-host, Mike Washington. We are officially looking for Mike Washington. We had no word, no sighting. Every once in a while, we may get a blue moon text that just says that he's buried.
Do we need to call the milk carton people? We need to call the milk carton people, Dr. Cavill.
Oh, yeah, for sure. APB on the milk carton. So we have co-host Mike Washington, again, out on assignment. Charles Bishop and AD Drew. Behind the studios mixing it up is none other than G Boom, taking care of those responsibilities. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live, KCOH 1230 AM studios, with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper, in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. I'm going to have to prep Boom. If I don't quite get the chairs, the remix. The intro, I think we got to teach him that story. He's like, hey, man, you need to be there. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency, LLC. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational, consulting, and data analytics. With that being said, let's get into some news of the day. Which direction are you going with the news of the day? Let me start with you, Charles. What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, let's go back and let's take a look at the action from this weekend. Alabama State, of course, was in the regional, the Tuscaloosa regional there, as Alabama State, they fall to Oklahoma State in 11 innings in the Tuscaloosa regional. But They had a tremendous show in Alabama State. Erased a 6-run deficit and forced extra innings on a Cale Clark 2-run home run in the 8th inning. But the number 2 seed, Oklahoma State Cowboys, they played a run in the top of the 11th to claim an 8-7 victory on Saturday afternoon at Sewell Thomas Stadium. But you take your hat off to Alabama State. They fought back from a 6-0 deficit to fight back and get back in that game. It was a tremendous showing for the Alabama State baseball program, but they did come up short.
Man, yeah, that was the tale of 2 different games. Obviously, the first one got away with them. Still had a couple of big bats in that game early on to make it interesting 3-2 before it got away with them. But then certainly what you want to do is bounce back, even though it was a little slower than you thought. 6-0, you were like, ugh, here we go again. And they was like, not so fast, my friend. Climbed back in there and actually tied it 6-6, forced it into overtime. We had a group of folks on our BCSN Messenger that got into the game. We're going back and forth. It's fascinating talking about the different baseball philosophies, those that may not be as deep in baseball in terms had different takes. So it was fascinating in that dialogue. Really close, bases loaded, full count, had 3-1 counts, that close to being able to literally walk it off for the win. But credit to Oklahoma State that kept forcing it, and Alabama State that it looked like maybe it got away in the 10th, and they forced it to the 11th inning where it did ultimately get away from them for a 1-run loss and put them out of the Division II regional. Let me take a little privilege from the host position, if you would, Charles. Let me go to you, Drew. You were there on site. So let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get back into some other news and let Drew give his news of the day. We'll push that over 2 segments. So go ahead and tell us your thoughts openly, AD Drew, in terms of getting a chance to cover for the Black College 9 and BCSN. Your post-game information was really good. I like the way you navigated that and make sure that you could muscle yourself to get a question in. I thought that was a really good job. So credit to you on that. Those later that will get a chance maybe to hear that will understand what we're talking about. But go ahead, AD Drew.
First of all, shouts out to University of Alabama for the job that they did hosting the tournament. If you've ever hosted a tournament at that level, which I have not hosted one at my institution, but I have been on the staff of institutions that have had to host NCAA tournaments, and just the I don't want to say rules and regulations, but the
details. NCAA really has a lot of details based on bylaws and governance structure.
The stuff you do, the stuff you do at a regular home game, you cannot do at an NCAA function. We'll just say it like that. While they may be used to it at the University of Alabama, a lot of institutions aren't, but they did a tremendous job hosting the tournament. And for those of us who were in the stadium for the first time, I was not the only journalist there for the first time in that particular stadium, because you did have 3 other institutions there: Alabama State, Oklahoma State, and South Carolina Upstate. So they did a good job making sure that everybody understood what they needed to do, where they needed to go, where they couldn't go, based upon their level of credentials. So let's get that out. Number 2, shout out to the grounds crew, because once again, through this part of the country, they dealt with rain. But those games in Tuscaloosa did not get delayed like their counterparts down the road did in Auburn, Alabama. Atmosphere tremendous. Alabama State showed up and showed out both games as far as their attendance and everything. It's about just over 2 hours from campus to campus between those 2 schools. And obviously I used to live in the Montgomery area, so I saw a lot of people who I knew who were either Alabama State alums or Alabama State fans who support the Hornets there.
There was some Tuskegee folks there. with a lot of the marriages that involve both Tuskegee and Alabama State couples.
Yeah, even saw
family.
Yeah, even saw a football coach from a different SWAC school there that was not in the state of Alabama. I'm not gonna call his name, but because I don't know if he wants me to say that, but I did see a football coach in his gear for his institution, which is why he stuck out. Besides the fact that I saw him too, but he was there representing his institution as a member of the SWAC. Alabama State chances to win. We took a deep dive on Sunday's BCSN Sports Lab. You're not going to get a deeper dive into two games that you would get unless you go back and watch that particular.
That was good
episode. In addition to the coverage that I did for Black College 9, so I'm not going to go into too much other detail, Doc. Except we showed that we could compete in that second game. I think the first game the lights may have been too bright. Even though those two teams had played a home and home previously, but the lights may have been too bright on that Friday night, if everybody understands what I'm talking about when I say the lights were too bright. But especially when you see the upsets of Cal Poly, who advanced,
super regional,
Milwaukee, who pushed Auburn to the brink, and Auburn had to come out the elimination bracket to advance.
Right.
It gives me hope as an HBCU fan, a mid-major supporter, that we shall overcome someday, especially given the fact that rosters are limited to 34 players. I think you can have 38 in the fall, but you must cut to 34 by the season. That means those 6 to 8 to 10 players that they were gray shirting or red shirting are now on a lot of these mid-major rosters.
Yeah.
That's why you see teams like Milwaukee competing. See teams like Cal Poly competing. Why am I drawing the blank? From transfer from the University of Missouri at Alabama State. Had a great series. And then Oropeza, transfer from Talladega. Great series. So we can compete because there are more quality players looking for playing time. What better place to come to get some playing time?
Yeah, perfect.
Than the SWAC school.
Yeah, when you talk about Cal Poly, you are talking about an FCS program, which is really intriguing. Obviously, you have Little Rock, Troy that are not part of the Super 2 and the Power 2.
Yes.
So Trey Calloway is who you're referring
to.
Yes,
Trey Calloway. Thank you. Good. I knew it was something with a C, but I couldn't get it off my tongue. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that in there. So yeah, that was a big deal when you talk about that. And then Troy and Little Rock, obviously, Little Rock, no football. So I always like to make that designation because it allows them to put the money in, but still. Yeah, there's a lot of indication when you look at what that looks like in terms of the teams that made it in. Their SEC sent 12 and only had 7 that made it to the super regional. Yeah. They're still the big power brokers, but you look at it in terms of what they sent. Yeah. A lot of teams were able to get in there and get in the mix and get some things done. So great comments there in terms of putting some additional perspective on that, if you would. And that's even like all the media. John's, even though they Big East money, there no football, so fascinating there.
And that's all the media in Friday was talking about in the press box was all these upsets that we were watching and everything. And when Alabama State was competing for about the first 3 innings, everybody thought we was getting ready to see another one. And then we woke up.
Then it was time to go get the snack. All right, let's take our first break.
2 pick sixes by Alabama. Alabama State was only able to get a field goal.
Correct. You'll take that in one of the FCS games.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's take our first break. But before I do that, I want to acknowledge and ask our viewers and listeners to do the same. Support the Black College Sports Network. It is our 25th year of existence. A lot of work, a lot of sweat and tears you'll see in some of the bigger side in terms of the infancy where things started. But we're proud of what we're getting done with the Black College Sports Network. So you can go to the website and myjbn.com/grow. Again, it's myjbn.com/grow. And you can support us directly for those that appreciate what you are receiving here. With that being said, again, let's take our first break. Come back on the other side. We'll talk a little bit more news. And then we'll get into some dialogue about some different subjects, maybe even touch on the Tennessee.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically Black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
This is Dr. Cavill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. As I said, Mike Washington is on assignment.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Yeah, he do think he was straight face. He's like,
keep a straight face.
oh, G Boom is back there in his hazing days. I don't know if it's Sigma or KK side, but somebody is giving him the blue.
Wait. How is the music major off rhythm?
Exactly.
Come on, Boom. Do we need to see you in band practice again,
Yeah,
bro?
recital, man. We gonna get it. He gonna do up downs. We gonna get him. With that being said, as we kid, because we care, let's get back into it. Let's get some more news going. Drew, I know I asked about your experience in that same, and you tied in some news to it. But what direction do you want to go in terms of some additional news that you want out there?
Well,
Hot on a lot of people's minds.
since baseball is officially over and it's too early for football, let's skip all the way over and then go to basketball. And how about some games, some big time games that we got going? How about Florida A&M and Coach Charlie Ward would take the ride across the railroad tracks over to Florida State in a regular season showdown, part of the Orion 180 Tip-Off Classic on November 2nd. Last year, I believe it was an exhibition game that they played. So this year it counts, and obviously we know Ward is tied to Florida State. He was a member of the team in 1991. I remember when they had
their first championship. Was he part of the first championship squad?
For you talk about football or basketball? We talk about basketball.
I know basketball. They didn't. They made it to a Sweet 16.
They made it to the 8 in basketball.
Elite 8. That close for the Final Four his year, as he was 2 Sparks Wars. But I was talking about the football side. Did he win it?
Yes, he was the quarterback on the championship. That's
the first one. Was it the first one?
Yes. Yes, that was the first one in Florida.
What was that, 91?
No, that was 93.
93, okay.
But I remember 1991. When the melee happened. Between Florida State and Florida A&M at the Leon County Civic Center. And those two teams had not met on the hardwood again until last season. So just wanted to bring that up. Also, since we're announcing games, the only thing better than a home game, getting invited for a road game in your same town, is a home and home, which Norfolk State has in women's basketball, as they announced that they will be playing the University of North Carolina. They will go to North Carolina this year on December 21st, and North Carolina will return the favor next year, but the date for next year's game has not been announced yet.
Good stuff. Man. Now everybody want to go to football. Drew found a way to skip over football. That's kind of hard to do. Charles, what direction do you want to go in? Continue some news of the day.
Well, I'm not going to skip over football because I'm going to go right here. The CIAA, they invite media to the 2026 Football Media Day in Durham.
I'm going right into it.
That's right. The CIAA invite members of the media to attend the 2026 CIAA Football Media Day on Wednesday, July 15th, 2026, beginning at 9 a.m. Eastern in Durham, North Carolina at the Hilton Durham. So the CIAA kicks things off Media Day Wednesday, July 15th.
Yeah, good stuff. Shout out to those HBCU, NCAA, HBCU, I should say, track teams that qualified for nationals, including some teams in terms of 4x1s, Howard, FAMU, in terms of women's showing that speed. That was pretty big time. And then you have individual events as well. North Carolina A&T had quite a few individuals and team people that qualified as well. So it'd be fascinating to kind of see what they do in the nationals, as we have a good representative of HBCUs in the mix there. So I wanted to share that update as you see some national qualifiers for the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference showing out. In terms of tickets punched individuals from the SWAC, you see that Southern Alabama State FAMU. In terms of 4x100, I mentioned, and the Bulldogs from Alabama A&M, all of them doing well. Women are really showing out across the board. HBCU women qualifying for nationals. Let's go get it done. Bring back some medals, if you would. We go back to you, AD. Any additional areas that you wanted to touch on before we take next break and come back? Maybe talk a little bit, closing some baseball, sneaking it back in. Black College Nines released updated poll. A little different than what we got.
Definitely.
So I want to see what y'all thoughts are there. We kind of teased around a little bit, but the voters, I guess the last thing on your mind, y'all have talked about this, some things in terms of what you do in the tournament. But man, what a magical season. So I'd love to see how y'all feel about that discussion. But before we go there, Drew, again, any additional things that you want to share in terms of this segment with the news of the day?
Before I share this news of the day, Charles, what was the date of CIAA Football Media Day again?
July 15th.
Dr. Cavill, what is the day of the SWAC football media day?
July 15th.
You do the math on that. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about some grades, everybody. This comes from HBCUGameDay.com. This is right up Dr. Cavill's alley because he loves grades.
Yes.
They release grades on the financial health of our private HBCU institutions. There were 900 private nonprofit colleges with enrollments above 500 students. It said its 2026 formula was revamped with data from prospective data science, and the goal was to better measure true liquidity at each institution. Let's highlight some of the grade recipients. Leading the pack with the highest mark, well, first of all, I'm a little bit upset that no HBCUs received the letter grade of A. They must have Dr. Cavill on as their professor there, because Dr. Cavill doesn't give out A like candies.
No,
so
you're right.
But the top of the HBCU food chain was led by Morehouse, Fisk, and Rust College with grades of B+.
Russ. Yeah.
Tuskegee, Howard, Virginia, Lynchburg received grades of B. Miles, Hampton, and Claflin received a grade of a B-. Now, we're going to stop right there. We're not going to talk about the average schools, and we sure not going to call out the schools that did not get make the mark with a D, or I don't think they gave out any Fs, but they had some Ds and some D- on there. You have to go to HBCUGameDay.com if you want to go in detail. And you did not hear your private school institution called, you can go to HBCUGameDay.com to see where your school ranked at.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's take our second break. We'll come back on the other side and get into it. Like I said, I want to see what the debate will hold up. Will these guys be as tough as they are on me in regards to the thoughts here? Or will they be in agreement? Y'all stick around and let's check it out and see what the Black College Nines has to say as they give out the top 10. We'll break that down and see your thoughts on the other side. This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit HBCUPrideJoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Press the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
think Doc stepped off for a moment, Charles.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
Here he comes. Let's see.
They popping back in there.
There we
So
go.
about to get into Black College Nines right now. Huh?
Yeah, we're gonna break down Black College Nines and see what your thoughts are on the top 10 that they have going with you.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of number 10, North Carolina A&T University. I'll give my thoughts on that afterwards. I just don't understand the voters here. Number 9, Norfolk State University. Kudos, great season in terms of first year. What they may be building at Norfolk State, it'll be fascinating to see how they push forward. At number 8, Texas Southern University. At number 7, Jackson State University. At number 6, Grambling State University. Number 5, Arkansas Pine Bluff. We had that similarly. Number 4, Southern University. We were there on that. Number 3, Florida A&M University. Number 2, Bethune-Cookman University. And number 1, Alabama State University. Now, I know it gets thin when you get at the bottom 10. That's why we do a top 7, essentially top 5 and some of those receiving votes. But North Carolina A&T finished last in the CAA. I just can't see that as a 10 team. It's got to be somebody else that, didn't finish last in that conference. Top 10. Just give me one other team. That's my final thoughts there. That's enough of me. The job is for you all to share your thoughts.
I know you run out of teams. Yeah, we say it's got to be somebody else.
It's got to be somebody else that did not finish last in that conference.
Yeah,
I refuse to accept that a team last in that conference is top 10. Any team. You can at least say, hey, we may not made the tournament. We may not finish
500.
But we didn't finish last.
Yeah, I got you there.
You know what they say in the Bible, Dr. Cavill? The last shall be first and the first shall be last.
Like the last in the polls.
But
the 10th will be last in the rankings of the conference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If it's me, I'll rename our poll to D9 instead of a top 10.
Just imagine how far A&T has fallen in terms of baseball.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was a team a couple of years ago winning the MEAC conference. They at least came in the first year of the CAA. They were, fighting for the, final seed in tournament, fighting to be around, 500. Maybe I'm a little exaggerating on that, but at least they were getting several wins in conference. Now, literally, the bottoms fall out. And it's not just baseball. You talk about men's basketball. Women's basketball at least pushed forward last year. The only thing they got really holding things up is track and field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Volleyball was atrocious. This is a mighty program that's falling mighty hard. Well, anyway, let's get back to baseball, more positive thing. Let's look at the rest of the teams in there and see your thoughts. Obviously, the big one that pointed out to me is Alabama State. In a lot of people's mind, leapfrogs Bethune-Cookman. I suppose all of that is because of winning the SWAC tournament. This was released on June 2nd, which is today. So people have time to digest what happened in the SWAC tournament. These are games played through May 24th, though. So didn't take in the last 2 games. This was people voting on it at the beginning of the week after the SWAC tournament. So let me make sure we put that out there for clarity. We'll go to you, Charles. You don't have to say where you voted or what you did, because you vote. But
yeah,
what are your thoughts in terms of Alabama State ending the season here? It looks.
I'm gonna still hold true to Bethune-Cookman with the strong regular season and the wins over 2 teams that were in the regional, as to why I still had them number 1. Not taking anything away from Alabama State or their run in the SWAC tournament. but that was my major reason for having Bethune-Cookman 1, Alabama State 2. As I kind of keep looking down, I think the rest of it was in line with Florida A&M, Southern, UAPB, Grambling.
Yep.
Texas Southern has the head-to-head over Jackson State 3-2.
Yeah, I don't understand. You can tell some folks are not following that, but
yeah,
good one.
Yeah, so I probably have Texas Southern 7 and Jackson State at 8.
I'm glad somebody looks at regular season. 80 Drew, your thoughts?
I did not put A&T on my ballot at any point in time this year, just for full transparency.
Thank you. Somebody that does some homework.
As a matter of fact,
like you can't finish last in a conference and be top 10. No.
Yeah.
All the voters out there, I'm scrutinizing you all. This is not about Black College Nines. All he does is take the information that y'all put in. Y'all got to watch some baseball. Some of y'all out here voting, fudging. Y'all ain't watching all this.
Yeah. I will say this. I was voting, and I did have a hard time at that number 10 spot. And I would put them in the bag, shake them up, and Valley was the one that kept coming out every week on my ballot.
I can see that.
Valley was taking the number 10 spot for me in most weeks.
Now, A&T. They didn't finish last.
No, they didn't.
They didn't finish second to last.
No, they didn't. 1 through 5, there's going to be the debate between Alabama State, Bethune. I don't want to touch that one. FAMU 3, Southern 4, Arkansas Pine Bluff moved up by virtue of their tournament run. 6, 7, 8 is where it gets a little murky. Like you say, Texas Southern took the season series, and that was the last series of the regular season, so that should have been fresh in everyone's mind. But it's something about two 30-loss teams sitting right there in the 5 and 6 spots. Not 30-win teams, 30-loss teams. That makes me kind of think possibly Texas Southern might be the number 5 team in this poll. Just for optics, it just don't look good with a 30-loss team in your top 5, Dr. Cavill and Jaws. So, I can actually see pushing Texas Southern up to 5, despite the run that Arkansas Pine Bluff had, because Texas Southern had almost as equally a good run in the tournament also that Pine Bluff have.
Didn't they play head-to-head, John?
No, they were 2 different brackets.
No, I'm talking about during the season.
Who Texas Southern and who?
Pine Bluff?
Pine Bluff.
Yes, they did play head-to-head. Mm-hmm.
And who won the series?
It was Texas Southern who I believe won the series. Let me be sure. But I believe Texas Southern did.
Even more ammunition.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I wanted to. Yeah, I knew they played, and for some reason I thought they won 2 or 3. But
let me see here.
In a minute.
Pine Bluff did take 2 of 3 against Texas Southern back in April.
And that was in Pine Bluff, right?
That was in Pine Bluff. It was in Pine Bluff.
You get that part right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the last one threw me was the one that Texas Southern was leading, gave away, and credit to Pine Bluff. They came back and won on a walk-off.
Yeah, that was a 5-4 win. Yeah.
So there's my holes in the poll. That from 5 to 8 is where I've got a little bit of trepidation at.
Yeah, so it's interesting. People gave credit to Pine Bluff beating Bethune-Cookman, but didn't give Bethune-Cookman credit for the season, which is why you give Pine Bluff credit for beating Bethune-Cookman.
Because of the great regular season.
Right. And that sitting at that number 10, Prairie View can make a great argument. I mean, 10 and 18 in the conference, 14 wins versus how many wins did North Carolina A&T had overall?
14.
Okay. Yeah.
What about Valley?
Finished out the season strong, winning 4 in a row.
What about Valley?
They beat Valley.
Valley was sitting there at 8 and
That
22
was seriously
overall, or 12 and 37 overall, 8 and 22 in conference.
Yeah.
And the 2 games against against Alcorn were rained out. That leaves a sore spot with them. They got to feel they would have got those.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have put them in the tournament, but at least made things
interesting.
Yep. So it'll be fascinating to see what goes down next year as we get back into that.
10 conference wins are strong.
Yeah, particularly if you look at their conference schedule.
Yeah.
Early on, they were batters up in terms of what that looks like. It'd be fascinating to see how things continue to go in that direction. But wanted to give that final thought. Let me give one last top 5 again from us, just so it's in people's minds last. Receiving votes, we had Norfolk State Spartans, agree with there, Jackson State Tigers, then Texas Southern, and then Grambling.
Yeah.
So we did essentially 9. At top 5, we had UAPB, Golden Lions. Southern at number 4. FAMU at number 3. Same with Black College Nines there. Everybody's pretty much solid there. Number 2, we did have Alabama State. We have 4 individuals, 4 first place votes, and Bethune-Cookman did edge them out. So it was close. Bethune-Cookman with 5, what we released last week when we closed things out.
Before we end this segment, Dr. Cavill,
sure.
Can we talk about the small school poll quickly?
Yes. No, it's appropriate.
I've got a little bit of trepidation with Talladega 1, Edward Waters 2. I think Edward Waters did a better job, even though they finished 3rd in the regular season. They beat a couple of top ranked teams in the doggone tournament there, Dr. Cavill. So and when you look at it, if you look at the excuse me to everybody, let me give you the small school top 5 for Black College Nines.
Yes.
Savannah State was 5, Albany State 4, Houston Tillotson 3, Edward Waters 2, and Talladega 1. So Edward Waters, in theory, beat the 4, the 5, if we want to go deeper, the 6, and the 7 team in the poll.
Yeah.
Those are some of their wins, where Dega beat the 3.
Number 3.
The number 3, and then number 9 and number 10. So just my 2 cents on why.
Yeah, I think that's a fair argument. A little concern there. Very much so. I'm glad you did sneak in Morehouse College with 6 when you started with the top 5. I was like, come on, man. What are you doing?
Yeah. All right, I would sound too much like a homer if I put that debate out.
Yeah, you're right. That's why we got your back. We'll do it for you.
Yeah, but Savannah State did beat Morehouse 3 out of 4 this season.
I wasn't saying that Morehouse should be above 5. I agree with it 5-6, but I'm saying you started with the top 5. I'm surprised you would start with the top 6.
But you got my Morehouse reference in for me, so I didn't have to do it.
Yes, we got your back, very much so. All right, let's take our last break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll get into a vote of no confidence. I thought that was only for presidents and provosts and deans. The dreadful vote of no confidence.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
And we have to fund our kids in these colleges, and we have to make sure our kids have seats in these colleges.
And what about HBCUs? You mentioned.
Absolutely. You got to fund them all, and you got to make sure they're properly funded. You know, the real reason why I went after Comcast and Charter, it didn't have anything to do with my cable networks. It didn't. What happened was a gentleman wanted to do the Black College Sports Network in partnership with the HBCUs. And Comcast did not accept it. And that would have made a lot of money for these black colleges.
Absolutely.
And it would have educated the Black College Sports Network. This is what he wanted to do. That would have educated a lot of black kids. And when they didn't do that, that's when I came off the bench and said, okay, I'm going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Okay? That was the real reason why I got into it, was when I saw what happened with the Black College Sports Network, which I don't own. I just knew.
Why didn't you buy it?
I just knew. I just knew that these black.
I like that talk.
Right? I knew that these black colleges were going to benefit, and these black kids were going to get the education that they deserved and not have to pay.
There's a shot. It might be. It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
This is Dr. Cavill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Feel like Charlie Brown. Take that football. Oh, this is Dr. Ville inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Professor Bishop and Professor Drew. This last segment, I wanted to get a little bit of this talking the buzzers out there. That was really tough news to see in terms of Mickey Allen. We've had him on the show. We had him when they announced the 40 series, or I-69, I think it was, series between Alabama A&M and Tennessee State. And then in the offseason, we got some significant news when you talk about Jackson State getting back on the schedule, renewing rivalries with FAMU. So in terms of the fan base, what I thought a lot of folks would be happy about, and what we've heard thus far, they have been excited about renewing those matchups and what they mean for everybody. But we got the news that the coaches, 6 coaches, sent a letter to the president that was a no confidence letter signed by no less than 6 TSU head coaches. So it could have been more. And this was put out in the media. So I would say leaked to the media. So this was not something they thought was just going to be enough to make sure. The 6 coaches included the men's basketball coach, Nolan Smith, who we all know won the regular season OVC, the tournament OVC, really brought a lot of good spotlight to Tennessee State. First time Tennessee State had won the OVC since back in the 90s, I guess it was. In terms of when they did it then, a long time ago. Put it that way. You also had the football coach, Reggie Barlow, in his second season. Nolan was in his second season as well. Women's basketball coach, Candy Candace Dupree. Track coach, legend that ran at Tennessee State, Chandra Cheeseborough. A volleyball coach, Danica Sutton. The softball coach, in terms of Jean McRath or Janae McRath, 2 E's there. And like you said, it was at least 6, so it could have been more. Some of the concerns that talked about in the letter, quote, the only statement I would make at the stage is that we are aware of the concerns raised by the coaches, and we make these things very seriously, end quote, Tucker said. That's the president, for those that may not be aware. Quote, we will be reviewing the concerns, and that's pretty much all I can talk about right now, end quote. Quote, the vote of no confidence is not rooted in personal grievance, but rather in a collective belief that the department can and should operate at a higher standard consistent with the values, missions, and potential of Tennessee State University, end quote, the letter reads. So it could be a vehicle that they're going through VP of Athletics, Dr. Mickey Allen, towards more concerns in terms of the president of the board, in terms of that. But there was some questions about resource allocations. Folks that may not be aware, Tennessee State has a top 3 budget in terms of HBCU sports. So revenue that they spent is pretty high. So that's interesting when you kind of factor that in. But several concerns included inconsistent communication, the lack of operational transparency, uneven allocation of resources and support among programs, lack of excuse me here as I muscle through this myself. Lack of clear departmental vision, structure, and accountability. So that's tough to read from a department. The letter also outlined concerns about the direction of the athletic department as well as proper support across several programs at Tennessee State. Additionally, there were issues about collaboration on the well-being of student athletes. Allen was hired by the president, Glenn Glover, back in 2020 to replace the retiring Teresa Phillips. Based on what you've read, maybe some of your resources that you have out there, you know, Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of the magnitude of this with at least 6 coaches? I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in the history. Not just HBCUs, but sports in general.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like this with regards to sports. And normally when I see it, you know, a vote of no confidence, I normally see it associated with a university president. And I guess for me, outside looking in, that sort of is not intimate. But this is really intimate. Or when you're talking about a specific department, you know, that is highlighting we don't have transparency, lack of vision. Those are kind of buzzwords that are puzzling, at least on the surface, in terms of, you know, what is it that you're looking for? What is the overriding sort of concern? Is it especially when you start talking about I think the term that they used was lack of a clear department vision. That was something that kind of, that really kind of stuck out. Like, wow, what? I mean, is it a conference thing that they're, you know? I'm not sure. Is it something, you know, in terms of the competition, the conference that they're playing in, or we've seen Tennessee State, I think, over the past couple of years, get more involved in terms of playing more HBCUs, and it seems to fire up the fan base. So I don't know, you know, what the particular vision part is that they're looking for.
Yeah, that's good stuff. To your point, you know, Eddie George, when he was coach, one of the things that took place then, that was when OVC was losing a lot. They've kind of balance himself out, he talked about it being a dying conference.
Yeah.
Now they still have the partnership with Big South in terms of football, and they brought in some Division II programs. And so it seems like they've kind of wavered through that. Maybe some people still have some concerns, but you're right. It's fascinating when you try to read that. And the earlier point that you made in terms of vote of no confidence, you're right that the intimacy of this is so different than we see when it's a president or a chancellor. And usually that's the faculty.
Yeah.
From the faculty. And when it's a president and chancellor, you can see how there could be some distance. And that's usually they're voting because they're not getting what they believe is shared governance, which also is fascinating to me that there is some coaches that or whoever may be leading this or two that maybe that they've had some conversation with or seen that take place with the faculty senate type of things. Now we're seeing a lot of faculty senates in this current environment be dissipated in terms of new state policies that eradicate them or create a different form. So that's fascinating to see that coaches understand that or at least have been around it. So somebody may have seen it before. So you're right. There's so many questions here. And you certainly could understand why Dr. Mickey Allen didn't make a statement. This may not be a time to do that, but it would have been intriguing to see his perspective. If nothing else, to you, again, Charles, how much in his mind maybe this was blindsided, that he, did he see it and could understand it, and he's like, hey, I'll make some corrective action? Or would his comments kind of allude to saying that he really didn't see it, that he felt that there were good relations coming to it? I've seen him with post games, whatever, around coaches, and I hadn't seen anything that would throw you off. So that's fascinating for me too. Let me go to you, AD Drew. Your thoughts. Have you covering sports, being a part, coaching, refereeing, administrative type roles in terms of what you do with communications at various places now? Or how have you seen anything like this in athletics?
Only one time.
Okay.
And this happened during the pandemic, when you had a lot of difference in opinions on what you needed to do. When we as a society had a lot of confusion about the science and everything that was going on out there. And programs were in the should we compete, should we not compete? What do we need to do to compete? What safety measures do we need to compete? That is the only time that I seen anything close to this where you see basically, for lack of a better word, the coaches rebel against their leader. That is and I'm not gonna call out the institution where I saw that at, but that's the only time that
Can you tell us what level?
This was actually at the NAIA level.
Okay.
So, but irregardless of the level, that's the only time I ever seen something like this happen. And in that case, the athletic director was ultimately removed, let go, whatever you want to do. What I find concerning about this, though, Dr. Cavill, you're talking 6 coaches. You only have 9.
You said at least 6, so you're right.
At least 6. Wait a minute. You only have 9 coaches on staff, Dr. Cavill, because some of these people coach multiple sports. You have 9 coaches. 6 of them at least 6 have signed this letter. One of those sports that I'm talking about, Dr. Cavill, is not even a full-time varsity sport, being ice hockey. So that's at least 6 out of 8 coaches who could have signed this letter or on record to have signed this letter. 5 of those 6 coaches you have hired.
Oh, wow.
Let's think about that.
I didn't think about that.
These are people who you vetted, unless these were forced hires by higher ups, and we do know that happens in athletics sometimes. But you may get forced one coach upon you. You're not going to get forced 5 coaches on you. And I'm wondering if part of this, because Dr. Allen has been around a long time, is part of this the result of the changing landscape of college athletics with the transfer portal, with the NIL, and the response to that changing landscape, what the coaches are seeing and what they think that their needs are?
A lot of pocket watch.
What the athletic director and his higher ups think that the needs are, and there are disconnects with it. I'm just gonna be real, but you usually don't see a disconnect where the ocean is this wide with everything. One last thing that's concerning about this, Dr. Cavill. All your revenue sports, football, men's and women's basketball, signed off on this. And 4 of the 6 coach women's sports, which gets you into Title IX. When you see when I saw resource allocation, and I looked back and saw that a lot of these were women's sports.
Buzzword. Yeah.
So it's this is where somebody has got to put out that 90-day action plan. And you have got to make some serious corrections, outsource things, call in the consultants, do what you need to do, or it's going to be for lack of a better word, this could turn into a shit show.
Want to acknowledge Sneaker Shop Talk, Tennessee State alum. I appreciate him for chiming in such a difficult time. He did put out there in lieu of recent news, TSU news. I want everyone to know I am okay. He didn't laugh about it. And he also provided an update here. He said reportedly the athletic budget decreased, and that was a screw point for the coaches. So part of that, I'm sure, as I saw in the report, that their enrollment has decreased too. Pretty significant, by over 1,000 students. So that is a challenge. You're
not getting that student activity fee.
Yeah, that's always a challenge there too. So to your point, what does that do with your student athletic fee? So that's different when I heard that. So I wanted to kind of acknowledge that and appreciate Sneaker Shop for sharing that perspective. So
are these coaches desiring to go to the SWAC? I mean, let's just put it out there. You think that's not part of it too? They want to go play in the SWAC or the MEAC?
Or the MEAC?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I can see it 2 ways. I mean, because they said they're not resource allocated. And this is one thing that I got in some dialogue with A&T. And one thing I said at the very beginning, I wasn't really sharing one way or the other whether Hampton and or A&T should make the move to the Colonial Athletic Association. Obviously, I know they have changed their name, but when they made the move, they were there. And part of the thing I would always talk about is be careful that you'll become a Tennessee State. And what I was saying about that was not just the losing, but the losing from how I've studied athletics, and you can even look at Mississippi Valley State, has a direct correlation in terms of the money that you put into the program. And while a lot of those teams in the CIAA have left, when they first went in there was a huge gap in terms of what those programs were putting in their sports. And even if you can hire great coaches that are able to nimble, you have an athletic director that is really good about, spending every dollar to stretch it. That's a significant gap when you talk about being able to compete. And usually the coaches get the blame. Some alums will stand up and try to put more money into it. Others frustrated because they never wanted to leave in the first place. So you really have a lot of challenge going on there. And you have that at Tennessee State. You have a group of function at C being in the OVC puts them a part of the SWAC in terms of, the measurables and starting rating of everything, although they're losing. And what is the benefit of that? And this is before now you're getting all this news about where the SWAC has really become, in terms of the finances and broadcast, one of the top programs. I was watching a guy on Tennessee State that did a program that really did some good information of breaking this down in terms of, talking about the SWAC and different other areas where HBCU programs with a lot of focus on Tennessee State of what they need to do. And all his components in some fashion talked about the commitment of resources, revenue. So I say that's a long way to go about saying, I can see coaches saying, if we're not going to commit the resources, let's go somewhere where we could either have a better opportunity competing with other schools that have similar resources. So I can see it from that perspective, whether it's the MEAC or the SWAC in terms of that. And when I'm saying resources, I'm talking about individual institutions committing resources and similar enrollment. Obviously, the mission and the culture is there. But now you're talking about the influx of money that's going into the SWAC. And so those resources increasing. So even in the SWAC, if you don't commit those resources and you're fighting against your peer institutions, let's just name the ones that you put on the schedule in football: Alabama A&M, FAMU, Jackson State, that are committing significant resources compared to, maybe the bottom quarter of the teams in the SWAC. Are you going to be competitive in the SWAC?
Yeah.
It's not an automatic thought process, but I can see coaches believing that you would have a better chance. So yes, I could see from that perspective. My question is, what are the alumni going to say? They've been asking for leadership from the AD and the president about committing resources so they could be more competitive. Those that wanted to stay in OVC, obviously the ones that are looking to go to a conference with HBCUs, whether the SWAC or the MEAC, a lot of them talking about the SWAC. They still going to want them to commit the resource. So to me, that's a fascinating and a good question a statement that you put out there, AD Drew, and then Charles, in regards to asking the question, could that be part of the dilemma? Be interesting to see. Snicker Shop Talk.com, the independent show is scheduled for tomorrow. Hopefully they can pull it up, because I'm sure that there'll be a big focus, you would think, on that show.
They got content.
Yeah, in regards. And folks that are in that independent. So not only from a Tennessee State perspective, which will probably drive this show, but this is a time to tune in to the HBCU Sports Lab independent division, because now all of these folks are probably going to get their perspective in terms of their independent status as HBCUs, obviously for Hampton and A&T, members of the Colonial, and Tennessee State, members of the OVC, and in football, partnership with the Big South. And when you talk about women's sports, those are sports that you can be competitive in. But if you're not providing the resources, the gap can be huge. I think the volleyball team, did they win games this year? Softball team has struggled in terms. And so for them, they're getting beat up of not being competitive, but a lot of them may be saying part of this is we really don't have the resources to be competitive. So that can be quite frustrating as a coach, trying to explain all this and deal with that.
Sure.
Here's my question. Have you been a coach? Have you been in the room with a lot of coaches? I see this ice hockey team here. We know ice hockey is not a cheap sport. And you're trying to start up this hockey team. It does not count against our anything NCAA, but it's probably eating up athletic budget, since you see it listed on the athletic website. maybe
Do
if
have
I'm
a
one
head
of those coaches,
at the
I'm
very
like,
least.
why the hell are we wasting this money on ice hockey? Especially if I don't see it's getting ready to start up. You know, we thought
Fair question.
it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be online by now.
Yep.
But it's not online, and I'm struggling over here. Get rid of them. They not doing nothing for us, and reallocate that money to us.
Yeah, because they
Maybe
just
that
got a
has a little something to
nominal
do
part
with
of the startup fee to help start it, but it wasn't enough to even get it started.
It's just like Dr. Cavill, you in education. It's just like those grants that we write. You write the
Canary in
grant,
the coal mine.
and what's the one
Yeah.
thing that they always ask at the end of the grant? Sustainability. Once this 3-year grant runs out, will you be able to maintain this program or sustain this program? And that happens to a lot of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and I'll let you have your last thoughts there, Charles. I saw a comment that talked about that Edwin Moore was shocked any coach other than maybe a very popular football coach and men's basketball coach would risk putting their name out in public about the ball. I would say that was true, but I think with all of them doing it together, it gets more challenging than just one or two individuals, regardless if it's football and basketball. And you got football and basketball to come with you. So that creates a much safer space. And if they're struggling as much as we're saying, I think they're at the point that I'm dead in terms of a head coach. Either way, either my record is going to put me in a position where I can't make an argument. Even if I put this out, they're trying to say, hey, we need the support to even give me a chance to show whether I'm good or not. And some of these, they have struggled. I mean, let's put it frank. When you talk about the OVC, I saw somebody that did a petition to move them out of the OVC right around the COVID time when there was talk that there was an invitation for Tennessee State to join the SWAC at the very beginning. Ultimately, they did move forward with it. Bethune-Cookman was the benefactor of it and made sure that they let it know that they were ready to come and join with FAMU. Mm-hmm. So that was huge, and who knows, it could have been all three of them. Then you add a fourth one. But when they put that out there, they were talking about maybe 5 or 6 championships over the last some 30 years. I'm talking about all sports combined.
Yeah.
Had 2 in basketball. I think this one was the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Had 2 in football, and of the 2, 1 or 2 of those were Johnny Cole, which was pulled from them. I think when I looked at it, they've only finished second in those sports like once or twice.
Even the last championship,
volleyball championship, I think 1 or 2. You got a couple of track championships. No softball. I mean, so you haven't even been competitive for the most part over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And these coaches are just feeling the grind, and they got to the point where it wasn't making sense. And that I wonder, you think about this though. How good of a coach is Nolan Smith? if he's doing this with little resources.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then I kind of come back to the intimacy part of it. I mean, I to me, there's a disconnect when you're talking about, you know, the president of a university gets no confidence. Well, but like, how do I come back and kind of look at my immediate boss in the eye after I've, you know, made this public? I do not have confidence in his vision. So it's kind of has to make for a weird work environment.
Charles, how do I come back and have you work for me as a subordinate?
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing that you have given me a vote of no confidence. Not only you, but my whole doggone department. I could deal with one of y'all being out there in left field.
Right.
I can't deal with the whole team out there.
Yeah.
Like I said, you go dismiss everybody. Contracts regardless.
Yeah. Yeah. Tough situation.
Carlos had to sign at least a 4 or 5 year contract. Smith, didn't he just get a new contract?
I thought so.
Yeah. And it's too late in the hiring cycle to get rid of everybody. So you're gonna have to put up with it for another year.
Mm-hmm. Wow, yeah, this is deeper than you think when you really start to pull the onion back.
Yeah,
we'll see. All right, I do wish Tennessee State the best, coaches and Dr. Mickey Allen as well. This has to be tough. His wife is a Tennessee State alum. I believe his brother as well. That has to be tough when you talk about family and extended family. So a lot of pride out there for the Tennessee State Tigers. Go Big Blue. Yeah. So wish them the well in terms of doing whatever's necessary to get this train. And this is obviously behind some other tough news they had. And it seemed like they had righted the ship in terms of turning that around. And the state has just continued to do what it does. So again, literally prayers for all involved, and just as much the institution, including the college athletes that have to deal with this too. I am Dr. Kenyatta, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Again, we thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, AD Drew, every Tuesday and Thursday right here at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. We will be back on Thursday, closing out the week. We look forward to Thursday as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Maybe we'll get some answers. As both of y'all said, you would think this can't drag out too long before you get some type of update. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. It's DrKenyattaCavil. Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
AD?
Lecture.
Dismiss.